Cars, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Stream, so are you are.
It's throwback night here for week number 13, live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Challenger Series has 2 races left to decide the top 12 in points. And live here tonight on V-Speed, the Challenger Series presented by 29 Graphics. Jeff Wright up here in the booth with me. And Jeff, these cars unique out here on the racetrack tonight. An opportunity in the chat to vote for your favorite driver's paint scheme. A unique race here today.
Yeah, absolutely. A unique race right now, but also a unique weekend, as we're going to be here for both broadcasts tonight, starting with the Challenger Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then we go to the longest race of the season in the Cup Series, so be sure to stick around for that. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight, and also just seeing all the throwback paint schemes out there. Very nostalgic, I will have to say, and like you mentioned, we do have a vote going on in the chat, so everybody viewing tonight, look for that link in there. You get 3 votes. Vote for your favorite paint schemes on track, and should be a fun weekend. I'm certainly looking forward to it.
As we take a look at the schedule, it's Charlotte and Martinsville before we begin that 5-race chase at Las Vegas. You know, a lot of variety in the chase here, but Martinsville going to be one of those deciding races. If you didn't do good at Charlotte, maybe you can recover yourself at a short track.
Yeah, short tracks, you know, they are chaotic, to say the least, right? Martinsville is probably at the very top of the list in terms of chaotic short tracks. So guys that are maybe on the bubble coming into tonight, and as we take a look here at the points, you know, guys right on that cut line, Brandon Wallace, Bryce Shoemaker, Max Koss, Stephen Davis, those guys, they really want to have a good night tonight, because you would sure hate to have to go to Martinsville and that be the race that you have to perform to get in, just because so much is out of your control. But yeah, big night tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for 100 laps. Guys going to be trying to get as many points as possible as we approach the playoffs and get ready to go chase racing.
And so we'll take a look here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, opened June 15th, 1960, Concord, North Carolina. It's a 1.5-mile quad oval with 24 degrees of banking in the corners. Of course, 5 degrees on the front stretch, probably less than that. It might be on the back stretch, just a little more banked. But as you go down these tight banked corners, it's not like Chicagoland or Atlanta where you have a lot of room to enter these turns. It's very, very tight in the entry of turn 1.
Yeah, it's a narrow racetrack really all around. And with it being a quad oval too, that front stretch can be just as narrow. A lot of times you see incidents typically happen just in the corners. Well, at Charlotte, we see a lot of contact sometimes made in that quad oval too, so that will certainly be something to watch. And 100 laps, it's not a short race by any means. You're going to have to take care of the tires again to be successful for tonight.
Race analysis up on your screen. 100 laps, 45-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit. A little bit difficult to get on this pit road, especially since they added that entry wall with those pit barrels, so drivers won't be sending it through the grass anymore. You might see a driver make contact with that wall. 2 green-white checkered attempts with 80% fuel. And, of course, as always, on that iRacing fixed setup. But with that, it's time to take you trackside and get the grid up on your screen. Starting on the pole here tonight. 30.379, Jordan Trass in the number 79. He'll start in the top spot. And Richard Holland has a win this season. He'll start to his outside, just 0.02 of a second off his lap time. Row number 2 belongs to Philip Brewer and Morgan Cook in the 4th position. I guess I should make mention of some of these throwbacks as we go through this field as well. Philip Brewer there in a throwback to the National Guard driven by Dale Jr. I believe that's a Kyle Busch throwback by Morgan Cook. Then you have Dakota Floyd and the Jimmy Spencer Heinz 57. Starting in 5th position to Noah Mahalski in his own custom paint scheme in the 03. Justin Ritchie, I think he's ran that all season long, but that is definitely a Jeff Burton throwback. They have Jared Skinner in the Skull number 7. Max Koss will start in the 63 Napa Auto Parts. I think that's a throwback to Chase Elliott. And then you have Bryce Shoemaker, definitely a throwback to the Z line, driven by Kyle Busch. Logan Threlkeld looking like a Dale Earnhardt throwback. Caleb Weekly, the Cartoon Network machine, will start in 12th. Take it away, Jeff.
Starting in 13th, it's going to be Brandon Wallace in that number 99. I believe that's a Gatorade throwback. That one looks pretty good. Matt Shanoski to his outside in 14th. Ben Laughter will roll off 15th tonight alongside Austin Belke, a very iconic Jeff Gordon throwback in that 24th. Jacob Locklear starts 17th. Steven Davis starts 18th. And 19th, Chris Reed. 20th, Pat Dabney. And then Keith Shoemaker in that number 88 throwback rolls off 21st, followed by John Sanu and Mark McFadden rounding out our field.
So we'll get a look at all these paint schemes in just a moment. But Jeff, we don't get very many times here in this broadcast. We usually have more cars than this to go through this grid. So I guess instead of asking you who you think will win this race, I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite paint scheme out there?
Oh, man, that's tough to say. I mean, I feel like we're looking at one right now. Morgan Cook and that number 51. Interstate Batteries / V-Speed throwback. That's a really cool paint scheme, and I think that one really stands out. But also, I feel like I got to go back to Austin Belke in that 24. Grew up being a Gordon fan my entire life, so it's hard for me to not pick the Jeff Gordon schemes. And, Charlotte Motor Speedway, home of the Coca-Cola 600 for Memorial Day weekend. That's a patriotic-looking paint scheme, so I got to give my vote here to Austin Belke, I think.
Fair enough, and I would be biased if I picked either one of the cars that I put on the racetrack tonight, so the 57 and the 51 are off the table. I think I'm going to go with Logan Threlkeld in the number 12. He's got a pretty sharp-looking paint there. It's definitely, see if we can get a better angle of that. The Tasmanian Devil, number 8, is the Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback, I do believe, on that machine. Just awesome to see all of these and kind of relive the nostalgia and the childhood. You just don't see iconic paint schemes like this anymore.
You really don't. And we see quite a few of them out here tonight. And 100 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to get to see these throwback paint schemes all night long. It's going to be a fun one.
So here we go for 100 laps in week number 13. Throwback night presented by 29 Graphics. Green flag up in the air. And we're live and racing Challenger Series at Charlotte. Coming by to lead lap number 1, Richard Holland takes away the top spot from Jordan Trask. And remember, Richard Holland, he's had limited appearances here in the Challenger Series, but every time he's been out on the racetrack, he's been a force for the top 3.
Absolutely has, and especially anytime we come to a mile and a half. I feel like that's kind of the bread and butter for Richard Holland, and I think he was at the top of the V-Speed odds this week for a reason. Leads lap number 1 here, right out of the gate, giving Richard Holland some confidence and some momentum early, and the clean air. That's a dangerous combination. Look for the 17 to be a threat all night long.
So for the 17, it's not an intentional throwback. I painted this car a while ago, but it is a Chase Elliott scheme with Milwaukee on the scheme. So just kind of a hybrid deal, not intentional, not eligible for voting. But again, reminder of the link that's in that chat right now. You can click on that Google Doc right there, and you get 3 votes each per email. And I mean, some of these guys want to do a little bit of extra. Might try a separate email.
How about that throwback paint scheme just ahead, and Max Cost and that number 63 Napa Know-How car. That's another paint scheme that certainly stands out. Max Cost, a big Chase Elliott fan, so repping the Chase Elliott colors. And Napa has had so many iconic paint schemes over the years, so definitely a great choice here from Max Cost. You see Morgan Cook just ahead. We talked a little bit about that paint scheme in the pre-race. Kyle Busch throwback, I believe the scheme that he got his 200th NASCAR win in across all series.
At a track that doesn't exist anymore.
Right, yeah. And that track, boy, we are going to miss that racetrack. We're lucky that it gets to live on here in iRacing because of all the tracks that were on the NASCAR schedule, that one definitely has to be in your top 3. And certainly
it was my favorite.
Yeah, certainly a track I loved going to. I know that you've ran great there. I think you posted your best finish of the season at Auto Club was 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bradley. No, you got a podium finish at Iowa, didn't you? So, but certainly a track that you've ran well at your entire iRacing career.
Yeah, I think it was Iowa. It might have been Iowa. It might have been Dover. I don't know. But, you know, the fact is that there's a lot of tracks that are actually falling apart. They're not getting the funding that they deserve, or the towns, the cities that they're in are just growing around them. And that's kind of what happened with Auto Club is, you know, the industrial park that was there grew around it, and then it got so big that that track's just too much real estate to let go. That track took up, I believe, 57,000 acres.
Yeah, a huge facility in that, and obviously a very successful track for Kyle Busch, and actually won the very last Cup Series race there in Fontana, California. I actually got to be at that race, Bradley Cooper, and I will say we were actually able to cash a bit of a wager on Kyle Busch that day, so I won't ever forget that one. But yeah, certainly a great racetrack, and it will be missed, but it does live on here in iRacing.
Watching on board here with Dakota Floyd, as you see the top 2 kind of spread out from the rest of this field. Actually, top 3, Noah Mahalski working on the back end of Jordan Trask. Richard Holland, though, has checked out 5/10, half a second now for the 17 car, 9 laps in.
Yeah, and you always want to sit back and kind of save your tires a little bit here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is an abrasive racetrack. Tends to favor the bottom, especially here in the Xfinity car. So you're going to mostly, I feel like, see these guys painted right now alongside that bottom lane. Turns 3 and 4. Sometimes maybe you can get away with running it a little bit higher, but it's all about positioning yourself at this racetrack. It's Bryce Shoemaker shooting to the outside here of Dakota Floyd, I believe. Not going to be able to make it this time, but just shows you how difficult it really is to make passes around here. These guys are really bunched up and really tight around each other.
You were talking about that hybrid line that you could run in 3 and 4. If you choose to run that middle, you have to know that once that car is settled in and you get back to that throttle, there's a chance on the outside you're going to end up in the outside wall. And that time last we went through 3 and 4, Shoemaker had to lift out of the throttle. He was going to hit that safer barrier. He's able to clear Dakota Floyd anyway into 1 and 2 with such a good run.
Yeah, moves him up to P7 on the running board, and actually got to talk to Bryce Shoemaker a little bit in the pre-race. This is one of his favorite tracks that we go to, and definitely one of the favorites of the mile and a half. So Bryce has got this place figured out, tends to run really well here in just about any car that he's in. So I know he had this one circled on his calendar looking for a solid finish here to get some more points here before we go chase racing in just a few weeks.
And we got some 3 wide almost going into 3 and 4. 64 of Ben Laughter is all over the back bumper. The 99 of Brandon Wallace, the 84 of Jacob Locklear. The Commodore 64, a unique throwback. This is a throwback to gaming era, and absolutely favor this one as well, as it's a colorful scheme. It's unique. Nobody's actually ran this car, but it does kind of shout back to where this all starts, right? We go back to the 8-bit days of maybe a little bit before our time even, Jeff, where these things weren't even possible.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of times, these paint schemes are being put in front of eyes that have never seen them before, right? So it's cool to be able to go back into the history books and find a paint scheme like this and get it done correctly. And I have to say that he's done a pretty good job as far as the accuracy goes. As looking for a pass here on the 99 of Brandon Wallace. Ben Laughter looking to be a little bit more consistent in the Challenger Series. He says he feels like he can, put together good races, but he wants to be a little bit more consistent, finding himself battling inside that top 10, inside that top 5, week in and week out. And from the start of this season, I think you can definitely tell the improvement. But still has a strong desire to not only compete at a high level, but he wants to get a race win as well. And man, if he could pull off a win tonight in that paint scheme, that would be unforgettable.
And just for a moment, I want to repost this link and let everybody know you can go vote right now. We've got trouble, though, in the back of the field there. I think that was Stephen Davis who's locking it down across the quad. And this might bring out a yellow. It will.
Yeah, so first caution of the night here. Lap 16. I believe we're going to take 16. We will come around and grab 16. But I don't know how bad the damage is there. Looks like maybe the right rear pushed in a little bit. We'll have to see if we can get maybe a better look at it. I also saw Brandon Wallace got really sideways just before this. I think that maybe trickled down here. Looked like he had it gathered up. Looked like he was going to be able to continue on.
Contact there with the 9 of Dabney, and a check up there with a 60 to not get into the back of Dabney.
Yeah, that was could have been worse. There definitely could have been more cars involved in that. So it's good heads-up driving from everybody behind to try to get through that as clean as possible. Richie kind of tagged Stephen Davis a little bit, Austin Belke, but boy, he had quite the view if we ride on board with him. Just able to squeak on through. This all happened very quickly right in front of the 24.
Ooh, close one.
Yeah, just the seas parted, I guess you will say, and Austin able to get on through and get no damage there. Unfortunately, Stephen Davis going to have a little bit of damage. So I do believe he'll probably come down pit lane here and try to maybe fix some of that damage.
So everyone comes down pit road. Richard Holland leads them in. Would expect 4 tires here. With three tire sets here, Jeff, I think you can afford to burn one right here.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, looking at the fuel load, it's probably a 2-stop race, so that kind of gives you 1 spare. Austin Belke chooses not to put on tires. I'm just curious if anybody else did that as well. Yeah, it's just tough. It can be such a gamble sometimes. I mean, if we go green from here on out, then yeah, you're gonna have want to take tires. If we get some cautions periodically, then you're gonna want to have saved the set. So it's just a hard decision to make.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here on V-Speed. You are watching the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series and the Throwback Night presented by 29 Graphics. More coverage will continue right after this.
Welcome to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 different tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We got 2 green light checkered attempts with 80% fuel loads, and this is the opening race of the series. Just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile. Logan Throwback with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Bradford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. And across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season.
And Jordan Trask, can they battle it out? They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
One 1,000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweden led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway.
If you're Dakota Floyd here, what do you do right
Look at the block down the backstretch.
You have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrato's got the preferred line.
And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Ferrata is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Wheatley, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back longer than 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Welcome back here to our coverage of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series. It's throwback night, and so far, Richard Holland has led every single lap that we've put down. We've had some changes for position. Your pole sitter has fallen back to the 3rd position. Jordan Trask sitting here with Morgan Cook just behind him. Dakota Floyd back up to 5th, where he began this race. Down 3 for Philip Brewer. He's losing some positions from 3rd spot, and then it's just a cluster of cars from pretty much 7th on back.
Yeah, this mile and a half is one of the most bunched up racetracks that we go to. Just not a lot of room at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you know, looking at it statistically with, you know, the 1.5 miles, you think that, hey, that's a relatively big intermediate track, but this track feels so narrow behind the wheel, and you can see all these drivers just fighting for every inch, and it's just hard to get away from people. It's just very tight out there, and sometimes this is where you see a lot of big wrecks happen too, because, like you say, it's very narrow and just not a lot of places to go.
As we carry on through our first quarter of this race, you're starting to see attrition take over on these tires. Some of these guys are going to race a little bit more conservative on this outlap versus when they have that extra tire set available. Now it's kind of a weird spot where that caution fell. It's going to be a one-stop race, but you have to go a little longer now.
Yeah, you're going to need to stretch that tank as far as you possibly can. You're really going to want to split it fully in half if you can. That would be the goal here. And if you get more cautions, that really jumbles it up too. as Jared Skinner making his Challenger Series debut tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He's good friends, I believe, with Nick Hapiak and a lot of the Juicy Spider Network guys. So anytime we have a recommendation from those guys, we are glad to bring them out here out on the racetrack. And so far, in that number 7 car, running 7th in his SNR Challenger Series debut.
Started back in 8th position, works around the outside of Dakota Floyd, as is Bryce Shoemaker. Now looking for the 8th position. Down the backstretch, 54 car, holds it up there. And the Heinz catch a bottle, taking the bottom, trying to hold it down there. Just, man, I didn't realize how much that red stood out, but I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, whoever painted that, Bradley, which I think I might know who did, certainly did a good job. I will say it certainly sticks out on the racetrack for sure. And Dakota Floyd coming into tonight, you know, he's been the points leader all season long. After last week, Jordan Trask and Dakota Floyd are actually tied for the points lead. So at the moment, Jordan Trask runs 4th, currently is your points leader as they run. So Dakota Floyd looking to get a few spots better. Morgan Cook got around Jordan Trask just a few laps ago. He sets his sights on the race leaders of Richard Holland and Noah Mahalski, who are battling for the lead right now.
And Mahalski, who has 2 wins, I believe, here in the Challenger Series. We kept asking when was that first one going to come. He was kind of the favorite to start this season off. A driver that had success in the Cup Series in the first 2 seasons. We came over here in the Challenger Series for their first season last year. It's been a little bit of a hiatus, but he finally got it going. He's going to pass for the lead right here on lap 29.
Yeah, and you can see the aggression right now by Noah Mahalski. He wants this lead, and he is willing to push for it as he sends that car down hard on the bottom here, almost going to clear him. Can't quite do it. 17 has the run down the back straightaway here. Noah Mahalski's going to have to send it in deep here into 3.
Another send there into 3 and 4. Holland doesn't get back to the throttle. Want to push up the racetrack. He could cross him over. He will. He'll go to the inside through the quad oval.
And this is what we talk about, that classic racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 2 cars just absolutely going for it right now. And while they've done all this, they have checked out from the rest of the pack. Look at these 2 cars. They are miles ahead, it seems like, from 3rd place there in Morgan Cook, Jordan Trask, Philip Brewer. But you have to worry, are these guys maybe pushing their stuff a little bit? Are they going to pay the price in the long run?
Saw a move there on the inside down the backstretch from Max Koss. He's going to get the run off at 3 and 4. Can he do anything with it? No, he cannot. The 54 Shoemaker will defend that spot. And I can confirm the 54 car, one of the hardest cars to pass on the racetrack. Auto Club definitely comes back to mind.
Yeah, he's going to make you work for it. That is for sure. And maybe with a little bit of added confidence tonight in that throwback paint scheme. He posted some fun facts about this scheme earlier in the week. This is a scheme from 2009. Kyle Busch went on to win 9 races that season in the what was called the Nationwide Series at the time. 25 top 5s, 30 top 10s. Pretty much that paint scheme was just unbeatable in terms of, you know, one guy, I guess, getting top 10s. But anytime you can get near 10 wins in a season, that doesn't happen too often anymore.
No, it does not. That was when Joe Gibbs Racing had really been at the top of their game. And I can tell you this, I can confirm, Gibbs is still up there. C. Bell doing a fantastic job this year. But you go back to what Kyle Busch, you see the car that he used to drive compared to where he is now, and you know he's talented. He's probably taken some very dated equipment and putting it up in the top 10.
And Noah Mahalski's throwback, I think we touched on a little bit earlier, his DEI-inspired throwback with Riley Green on the hood. You see AutoZone on there as well. And so far, the only other car tonight that's been able to get out front and pass the 17 of Richard Holland, but he's not driving away just yet. Richard Holland is still staying there. I think if you're the 17 now, you want to maybe back off, try to save your stuff. Coming up here on lap 34, we still got a ways to go here, and you got to keep in mind, these guys only got 2 tire sets the rest of the way, so if this becomes a tire game, or tire lottery, as I guess some of the races have been the last few weeks, you definitely want to be easier on those tires just in case you maybe have to stay out on those sets of tires for a run in maybe a spot that you don't want to.
Right now, as it sits, Bryce Shoemaker is winning the poll. 7 responses in the chat. So this is exclusive to our V-Speed chat. But Jeff, we had a special Discord link that was out there, and that was running a little bit ago. 30 responses, I think, is what we finished out with. Something around that.
Yeah, the Discord community and everybody involved in Saturday Night Racing League have come out to vote, and that is awesome to see. We will tally up those at the conclusion of tonight's SNR Challenger Series event, and then starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going SNR Cup Series racing for the 29 Graphics 300, the longest race of the season here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to start in the late afternoon. We're going to finish at nighttime, and while all that's going on, that's why we got the extra links here in the chat for all the fans and viewers out there to cast your vote for your favorite throwback paint scheme on track. Currently got the SNR Challenger Series link up there right now. We'll have the Cup Series link up there later tonight. But yeah, great to see everybody getting involved with all the different voting. And yeah, so far Bryce Shoemaker looks to be the fan favorite, but still early, a lot of racing to go. If you haven't voted yet, make sure you cast that vote for your favorite paint scheme of the night.
Stephen Davis, we didn't give him credit. He has a Jeff Burton throwback as well, and the number 60 pass on the outside to Logan Threlkel. This is for 16th position. These guys fighting it out from 15th on back. It is still a cluster of cars. And you got to wonder, though, when you find yourself struggling this much in 15th position, what happened in qualifying?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to execute those laps. Qualifying is a high pressure environment. You only got 2 laps to
loose off the corner there.
Put it. Yeah, very loose. And also saw in the chat, I think it was Josh Adams, he pointed out that that caution was actually a result of 2 of the X-Side cars getting together. So I don't know, maybe there's some tension, some electricity, if you will, Bradley, between the X-Side cars.
Polar opposites.
Thankfully able to continue on, but still very good-looking paint scheme. Stephen Davis's from Jeff Burton's 98-99 season. And still think he maybe has a little bit damage on that right rear, but I think he'll be able to get most of it fixed, and you can see that the pace is better than I think what it would have been. A lot of times you get damage on the rear of these Xfinity cars, and it is game over. He seems to be managing it pretty well.
Looking back up front, the lead has stayed at half a second. Richard Holland starting to manage that gap, so I think now Holland on the opposite side of that run where you saw Michalski chase him down, put the pressure on. I think Holland now ready to go as Trask gets loose in the background. 54 and hard into the wall. Bryce Shoemaker, caution is out.
And that is a hard hit there for the 54. We were just talking about he was leading the votes for the favorite throwback of the night so far. Not sure what happened there. Gets tangled up. Hits the inside wall a ton. And you can see the engine expired. His night is over.
Trask is going to get a little tight here off the corner, and a check up there off the wall. And did Trask make it through that?
Well, I think he's certainly better off than the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. You could see he got really kind of jammed up on corner exit and kind of got out of shape a little bit, and Bryce Shoemaker tried to go low, but it just wasn't enough.
Caution had fallen, so the 79 will maintain his position, but for Bryce Shoemaker in the number 54, that is day-ending damage on that machine. Well, Jeff, the cautions are falling right around the time that you could take 4 tires again.
Yeah, now it gets interesting though, right? So we got about 60 laps to go here. You're going to probably put on a set of tires here, and then you have 1 set of tires to go the rest of the way. So that is a lot of time on a set of tires. Ideally, this thing goes green to the end. We don't have too much problems, but we start getting cautions here and there. It is really going to shake things up.
In a close battle there off of pit road, I believe Richard Holland beat the 03 and Noah Michalski at the line there. Very close. We have to go back and rewind that. That green cone right there in front of the 79. And you're going to see Richard Holland pop out of his stall right here. We're talking about 100th, less than that.
Yeah, that doesn't get any closer. And Holland definitely had the advantage just because his pit box is closer to the line. A lot of times you hear us talk about, the advantage that the pole sitter has here at Charlotte because their pit box is right next to the timing line. So really all they got to do is just start accelerating and you're out. So that's a big advantage for not only the leader, but if you're close enough to be maybe the second or third stall behind the leader, you can make up some time there. And I think that's all the difference was there. That was, that could be a very big advantage to have here because it's not easy to pass here at Charlotte.
Jordan Trask gets that damage repaired. Looks like the back end of that machine is fixed up, but he will have to restart back in 22nd position after that damage repair. That's your pole sitter now coming back out of pit road as we double back up. On lap 43, we'll go back green at lap 44. Richard Holland, Noah Mahalski have been the class of the field thus far. They will restart side by side. Morgan Cook, Philip Brewer, Dakota Floyd, the top 5. Then you have Max Koss, Caleb Weekly, Ben Lafter, and Jacob Locklear, Matt Shinosky, the top 10.
Yeah, Caleb Weekly, a car I don't think we've touched on yet as far as the throwbacks go. I believe he's running a Cartoon Network throwback paint scheme, so
yeah.
Gotta love that. Oh, and that one was a classic. I don't know anybody who didn't like Dexter.
Yeah, that's perfect. DD on the side, I believe.
Yeah, and so this is a throwback to 1999, actually. Jerry Nadeau's 1999 Cartoon Network scheme. Caleb added a funny comment here. He said that he would run this scheme to a top 30 finish. So how about that? Pretty funny there with Caleb adding in that that little description there, but nonetheless a fantastic looking paint scheme, and that one really sticks out.
So here we go back green for the third time today as Richard Holland is the command car. Here's another time from Charlotte. Morgan Cook got around the 03 on that restart.
Yeah, we talk about the driver that's maybe got the most momentum coming in these past few weeks. I know he got involved in an incident last week at Indianapolis. He was having such a great run, wasn't able to get the finish he felt he deserved, but just before that, he went back-to-back 2 weeks in a row getting SNR Challenger Series race wins. Now he sets his sights on the race leader, Richard Holland, maybe looking to get a third one tonight, and if he's able to do it in that paint scheme with the amount of Kyle Busch's success, it would, I would have to say it would make a lot of sense, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit.
On top of that, we've been talking, my relationship with Morgan Cook, and he likes to dream about attributes. We talked a lot about this, and I said, if you win a third race, I'm muting you in Discord. You'll never shut up about it. I think he talked about this back-to-back wins at least for a week there, just how unbelievable it was. It is a limited list of drivers. It's difficult to win in any part of Saturday night racing, but to go back-to-back, that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen too often. I think we named the guys just a few weeks ago. There was only about 3, maybe 4 guys on that list. So certainly added his name to a short list of drivers, but it's even harder to win an SNR Challenger Series championship. Dakota Floyd was able to do that season 1, coming in tied with the points lead tonight. And that's the goal for everybody, right? Everybody wants to get that championship, but the best thing that you can do now is earn race wins in the regular season. Get those bonus points going into the chase. It's going to make that championship quest a whole lot easier.
So we ride on board with your previous season champion. He's passing on the outside of Philip Brewer. Brewer, another one of those drivers that's had success here in the Challenger Series, and that 44 car riding in the top 5. We'll take a look at that throwback. Digital camo National Guard machine, the Amp Energy driven by Dale Jr. back in, I believe it was 2011.
Yeah, I think sometime in that era for sure. It kind of gives off that time period just by looking at it. Certainly a good paint scheme. And Philip Brewer, we talked to him a little bit last week, just, trying to get back into victory lane. He's a 2-time winner this season, but it's been a while since we've seen the 44 in victory lane this season. He wants to turn that around. He's running top 5 right now, looking for more here on the 51 of Morgan Cook.
Looking for the 3rd position. Lines up in the back bumper, the V-Speed 51. And speaking of riding on back bumpers, Richard Holland has the lead right now, but Noah Michalski's shown that he wants it halfway through this race.
Yeah, we saw this earlier in the race, right? Richard Holland had the lead. Noah Michalski wanted to fight for it aggressively and maybe pushed his car a little bit harder than what Holland wanted to do at the time. Was able to get the position, but sometimes pushing hard for that lead is worth it, right? To get that clean air and get that advantage over the rest of the field. And if you know anything about Noah Michalski, he's not going to be content just sitting behind, riding around. He wants to go after and get that race lead.
Well, now that we are officially at halfway, I think it's a perfect opportunity. Find those volume knobs here on V-Speed, the smart device or that television remote. And let's get loud, presented by FireStorm Racing. Let's Get Loud, presented by Firestorm Racing in the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series Throwback, presented by 29 Graphics. Richard Holland still your leader. Noah Michalski at the back porch. He has been since we went back green on lap 43.
Yeah, and actually I'm looking down the list here in the infield carry center. We talk about the 54 who is out of the race. I don't know if he's leading right now in the votes, but he certainly was leading earlier. I think we might be able to catch up with him for a quick word here just to get maybe his point of view of what just happened. So let's go ahead and bring in the 54 here of Bryce Shoemaker. I'm out of the infield care center with Bryce Shoemaker right now, and Bryce, looked like you were having a pretty solid race. The times were looking relatively close to the leader's time, sometimes faster. Just looks like you got tangled up there on corner exit. Take us what happened right there.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, my guy that's without an Irish on everyone else in a cap series whole thing. That's no situation. I don't know. In my playbook, when I see a car sliding up, I tend to get out of the throttle, not stay in the throttle. But had nowhere to go. He hit the wall and just turned hard left, I guess. I have no idea. So nowhere to go into the wall. Car felt great. The car was just starting to come in. I think I was even with the leader, just come faster sometimes. So like I said, the car just started to come in, so it was only getting better. So what could have done?
Yeah, very unfortunate circumstances here for the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. Obviously showing a lot of speed and a very popular paint scheme, I have to say, in terms of the vote on the V-Speed poll that we have on our live chat. You were leading the vote, so I think you had a lot of guys rooting for you and pulling for you. Maybe talk about real quick before we take you back down, maybe the inspiration between from running that particular paint scheme. I know you're a big Kyle Busch fan, been a Busch fan for life. Give us a little background here of that particular paint scheme that you were running tonight.
Oh yeah, this date felt perfectly. It's Kyle's 40th birthday yesterday, so it's just been a week of celebrating Kyle's career. As you said, I've been a fan since I was like 8 years old, so definitely it never ran a Kyle Throwback either, so just doing that for Cup Series in the Challenger, and Challenger was the throwback to his 2009 Xfinity championship, and that was a WWE Z-Liner design paint scheme. So that was really fun to learn about his 2009 championship, because obviously I think I was like 9 years old when that championship went down, so I wasn't really following too closely, understanding what was going on during that time. So it was fun to learn about that season and watch some of those races back. Watched a couple of back then. It was fun to watch. And obviously the cars, even though back it's the Xfinity car, has more horsepower than the Cup car today. So those provided pretty good racing. Fun to learn back. But yeah, just fun doing these throwback races. I love doing paint, theme, design racing. So I thank all that for putting this on.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, Bryce Shoemaker. Unfortunately, I know you're not going to get the finish that you wanted, but we'll see you a little bit later tonight as we go cup racing for the 29 Graphics 300 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So that was Bryce Shoemaker in the 54. You could hear the disappointment in his voice. Whenever you're leading the poll, you got the fan base behind you, Bradley. That kind of adds a little bit of extra motivation to go get it, but unfortunately, it's not going to be the night for the 54.
Yeah, he was bad fast. He's running in the top 5. He was in the 4th position, I do believe, when that happened. And you saw Morgan Cook kind of push up the racetrack a little bit. The 79 of Trask had the nose in there on the outside, check up there and into the wall, and Shoemaker nowhere to go. It just happened so fast. We saw that in our first caution as well with that checkup and the spin there on the 60 of Stephen Davis. Speaking of Stephen Davis, running back here in 17th position. We're having a battle there for the 3rd position, but Philip Brewer wasn't able to get around the 17 car.
Yeah, Mahalski was, so he is starting to check out about a half a second lead over Holland. Brewer keeping Holland within reach here, and then a little bit of a buffer back to Morgan Cook in 4th. Dakota Floyd has finally cracked up in the top 5, so he started 5th, he runs 5th, but he kind of fell back a little bit, and now he's starting to move his way back forward. And yeah, we mentioned that paint scheme being a Jimmy Spencer throwback, Heinz 57. And very good looking paint scheme as we mentioned earlier. And I know he was one of the favorites coming into tonight. Also very good at the 1.5 mile racetracks, high tire wear. Fits right into his wheelhouse. We're getting into the later stages of this race. It's starting to kind of become golden hour here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And the heat is about to turn up. He's trying to run down the 51 here, Morgan Cook.
He's got a tall order, though, ahead of him there with Noah Mahalski. Mahalski just a little bit faster than everybody else, and if we had another caution, this would fit right into the wheelhouse as we're a third of the way through this race. We had our first caution somewhere around lap 20, our second one somewhere around lap 45, or 42, rather. It's just been kind of splitting this race into quarters. We haven't had a long run. So as we sit right now, Mahalski hasn't had to worry about short run speed. Will he have to at the end of this, though?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, and kind of where that last caution fell. If you split this in half, you know, from the start of that last stint to the end, you're only going to have to run, 30 laps or so? So you're not going to have to go too terribly long. So the guys that are good on the short run might have the advantage here. You can see Philip Brewer looking and moving around the racetrack, trying to find some grip, trying to get around this 17 of Holland for the 2nd position. He's not going to be able to do it this time, and Noah Mahalski just loves seeing all the battling going on in his mirrors, able to get a little bit further out, and boy, Philip Brewer is pushing that car hard right now. Just really tough to make the high side work.
Taking the high line through 1 and 2. He does get a good run down the backstretch. He'll be all over the back bumper of Richard Holland going into 3 and 4. He'll choose the higher line this time as well, but really sideways there through the apex of the corner. Has to back out of the throttle to not hit the safer barrier, and he'll concede that spot. I think right now for Brewer, it's a matter of, do you want to battle the car in front of you, or do you want to defend the car behind you? Because here comes Dakota Floyd to pass on the inside.
It just looks like he's giving it his absolute all right now. I mean, you could see the white gloves on the steering wheel from that last shot of how much he was working that wheel. This car is a handful right now as we ride on board here. We'll see if he gets a little bit loose again. You can see the car stepping out, a lot of counter steer in it, and that tells me that car is not handling like it should be right now. Here comes Dakota Floyd trying to make a pass here for what will be the 4th position. Dakota Floyd looks like he saved his stuff. He looks pretty good right now.
Part of that throwback, and this is something that I kind of miss back in the day. They really lean on each other through the backstretch. But the contingency sponsors on these machines, you go back to the early 90s even, maybe early 2000s, these guys had so many stickers on these cars they could barely fit a number on the side of them.
Oh, yeah, they're just absolute plastered with sponsors and contingencies everywhere. They just showed the demand, that people wanted their names alongside these race cars. And a lot of times when you get the throwback weekend, we get to kind of see that again, which is very cool to see. Here's another battle, Morgan Cook and Justin Ritchie battling side by side. Ritchie on the bottom, Cook on the top. They're going to be side by side here on corner exit of 4. And nobody can gain the advantage just yet, but it looks like maybe Justin Ritchie's just a tad bit quicker at the moment.
And it's a matter of, can you complete that pass? Morgan Cook a little bit slower on the exit. 55 not able to complete it that time around. Down the backstretch, has a little bit of a run going. He'll get back up to the rear bumper. We're starting to migrate up this racetrack. We take a look at the weather here. It's 99 degrees on the track temperature, and for every lap they go by here, we could go up another degree at any time.
Yeah, and if we do go up, I mean, that track's just going to get slicker yet. And you look at the cars, like Philip Brewer, who are already sideways and wheeling it. Adding a little bit of extra heat into the track is just going to make that issue even more prevalent, and something that these drivers are going to have to battle through the changing track states. And I think you're really going to see that later tonight when we have the SNR Cup Series here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I think the temps are going to be relatively warm at the beginning, but as we go into nighttime, that track is going to change.
Richard Holland, Morgan Cook, the 64 of Latter. Looks like the 31 of Shinosky bring it down pit road on lap 73. This will put them at around 28 laps left in this race. On the stint, 31 laps so far on this one. And it looked like Dakota Floyd had saved enough, but with this short stint, I don't think saving was really the call. Unless he saved enough fuel to make it further than these guys, I don't think he makes up this ground. This is going to be one of those flip-flops for the 57.
Yeah, it's hard to say because we're coming up on about 25 laps to go here. So going long here might not be too big of an advantage just because 25 laps, that's not all that big of a run to the end. So if I'm Noah Mahalski, if I'm Dakota Floyd here, I'm probably trying to get to pit lane here within the next lap or two. I don't think I want to be out there much longer, but we'll see what these guys go for. There's also the scenario that we catch a caution late here. So, maybe these guys are wanting to run another 5-10 laps kind of as insurance, just in case that caution does fly, because the guys that did come to pit lane, splitting it kind of halfway, they're out of tire sets. They're on the set of tires that they're going to have for the remainder of this race, which is a big risk. So I understand the two strategies. It'll be interesting to see how they play out.
So it just occurred to me, we haven't had an opportunity to show any driver cams here tonight. We've been paying so much attention to that pole as we see the 63 of Max Koss peel it down pit road just in front of him, Justin Ritchie, and been kind of paying extra close attention to what's going on with a throwback night. I think we need to find some of these guys that have RSR driver cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. Haven't seen any of the driver cams just yet, and Always a fun addition here to the broadcast to be able to get the driver's point of view from their seat as they wheel the race cars around Charlotte Motor Speedway. Caleb Weekly, always one of those drivers that has a driver cam, and there it is. You can see Caleb Weekly in that Cartoon Network throwback paint scheme. Currently runs second, and he's also one of those drivers that is electing to go with the long strategy. So we'll see how that plays out for him.
I mean, as it sits right now, Jeff, we've both been on the racetrack. I think right now it's come down pit road as soon as possible. I don't think this is going to work out for these guys. There's just not enough laps for that tire advantage to really play a factor. You're losing so much time right now to these guys that pitted short.
Yeah, but you also have to consider, if maybe these guys, that are well behind Noah Mahalski, has kind of been one of the class of the field. He's 4 seconds ahead of second right now. If these guys catch a caution at a right time, then it's the perfect strategy because then they have the tire advantage for the end. Now, if it goes green, yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that they're going to have enough time to really gain all that back, but sometimes there's risk involved with the strategies, and the last few weeks, the split strategy has kind of decided the race, so I can't fault these guys for trying this. This certainly still could be the winning move.
And Lother in the Commodore 64. On board with him, and he has a driver cam as well. RSR Driver Cameras. Rob Denton. Shout out to him. Thank you very much for putting your logo up on this broadcast. But I gotta say, right now, Noah Mahalski has stayed out way longer than I would have.
Yeah, I agree with that statement for sure. It kind of seems like he is just kind of set on going as far as he can and then pitting whenever he has to, right? Whenever he runs out of fuel. So if this goes green, I just don't see this working out for him. But, I'm not the one in the driver's seat. It's ultimately up to them to try to do the strategy that works the best for them. And we'll see how this all plays out. But yeah, I think if I were in the seat of that car, I think I would have liked to pit maybe 2-3 laps after the halfway point. But it'll just all have to wait and see how this plays out. We catch a caution, then everything changes.
And so Morgan Cook beat the 17 of Richard Holland. They had pitted together. Morgan Cook got around the 17, but Richard Holland is not going to let him go quietly.
No, he's certainly not. And we're getting to the 20 to go mark here. So real quick, we'll bring your attention to the V-Speed chat. If you haven't got your vote in yet for your favorite throwback paint scheme on track, please do so by clicking that Google Docs link in our chat. Earlier in the race, we believe it was the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker that was leading the vote. So
actually,
if you haven't
Keith
got that
now.
vote in, Keith Shoemaker. Okay, well, something among the Shoemakers then are certainly popular. I don't know if we showed Keith Shoemaker's paint scheme on stream yet. He's driving that Dale Jr. Nationwide car, I believe. It's certainly a good-looking paint scheme, and Keith Shoemaker, a big Dale Jr. fan. That's a good-looking paint scheme. I can see why that paint scheme might be leading the vote right now. We definitely need to get that car some more camera time. The fans are certainly showing up for the vote right now. They like what they see on track.
And there's Keith Shoemaker, currently running in 18th position. We were just talking about that battle between Morgan Cook and Richard Holland. This would be for the net race lead. There's Jared Skinner finding his stall down pit road. And the number 7 quietly hits the pit. Noah Mahalski continuing to go long here, just praying for a caution. This field very spread out, though. Jordan Trask has worked his way back up to second after restarting back in around the 20th position. Now up to P number 2, Austin Belke. ISC's been up all night. Right now up 13 positions in third.
Another paint scheme that I don't know if we've touched on yet, and that's going to be the number 9 of Tad Dabney, running that 2002 Jimmy Johnson Lowe's paint scheme. And I have to do say so myself, that's a pretty good looking paint scheme, as I've sported some of the Lowe's colors over the years in the leagues that I've been able to run. And Tad Dabney currently running 19th in that Jimmy Johnson throwback. He adds that 2002, also the year that he was born. So running a 2002 Jimmy scheme in the year that he was born, looking pretty good out there on track. especially with those yellow accents on the splitter. I really liked how those cars looked back in the day.
So now on lap 86, we continue to talk about Noah Michalski's lead. It's 7.3 seconds over Austin Belke, who is catching up to him a little bit each lap. You go back to Caleb Weekly. Another car has brought it down pit road. That's Jordan Trask in the 79. And it's a long, lonely pit road for these guys that were hoping for a caution. I think this was the commitment to recover their races. We're going to see a driver that probably didn't dominate this day end up with the victory here, but Morgan Cook got passed by Richard Holland. Does he have anything left for him?
Yeah, this might be what is the battle for the race lead after this all cycles through if we don't get a caution. So we have to keep our eyes on that for sure. You can see Justin Ritchie all the way up at the fence there in turns 3 and 4, trying to get the runoff corner exit. And then lastly, I think the one last paint scheme I don't think we've touched on just yet, Matt Shanoski in that 31 car with his Ward Burton 1994 paint scheme. That one's a pretty good looking one as well, I have to say. So very detailed and a very accurate throwback. So Matt worked on that on his own paint scheme that is just about as professional as it gets. I don't know how we've missed that one so far tonight here on the broadcast.
I can tell you this, Hardy's just recently put a new location near me. And so I never had it before.
Uh-oh.
It's definitely a place I'll frequent.
That could be dangerous, Kyler.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, as much as I sit behind a desk. Austin Belke takes over the lead. Noah Michalski now down pit road. Brandon Wallace stays out as well. And this is getting good here between the 51 and the 17. Morgan Cook goes back on offense.
Yeah, this is what is the battle for the race lead right now. 10 laps to go here at Charlotte. Both these drivers trying to get all they can get. Morgan Cook hits the apron, slides up. Is he going to be able to clear him?
He's really leaning on that door into 3 and 4. It was that touch on the apron there for Cook that sent him up the racetrack, but preferred line here out of 3 and 4. Cook is going to be able to drive out through the quad. Can he clear him into 1? He cannot.
And we may have some lap traffic ahead of these guys, too. That could play a factor. I think that's Brandon Wallace in the Gatorade machine. And Morgan Cook is going to use that to his advantage and gets the separation. We could very well see this 51 of Morgan Cook go on to win his 3rd race of the season with those last few moves that he was able to make on Richard Holland. What a well-executed pass, and now he just wants to set sail and hopefully get to that white flag here. This is going to be a long 10 laps here for Morgan Cook.
Yes, it is. And with Dakota Floyd having about 4-lap fresher tires and a different line, you're watching the battle for position. This is for the lead, all within a second of each other right now. 8/10 separate Morgan Cook to Dakota Floyd. Half a second back here to Richard Holland. But unfortunately for the 03 of Noah Michalski, he's outside the top 10 back in 13th.
Yeah, he kind of made the gamble. He, kind of banked on a caution falling late, which I guess you can't really blame him too much, as that has happened, in the past few weeks. He went with that strategy. It's not going to work out this time. But, boy, we have a battle on our hands here. Dakota Floyd trying to make quick work here of second place. Now he can set his sights on the race leader, and we're about to have another battle for the race lead. Bet you Morgan Cook is death gripping that steering wheel right now, but, boy, look at the run that Dakota Floyd is going to get here out of turn number 4.
We're going to see a fight here with 8 laps to go from Charlotte. Throwback Night presented by 29 Graphics. A shout out to them for putting this up, and everybody at Saturday Night Racing League. It was awesome to see all of these paint schemes. One last opportunity here is we could get that link back up. It's just above here at the top of the chat if you scroll up. Jeff Wright has been posting it periodically, but there it is again. You get 3 votes for your favorite driver. And the last I checked, it was Keith Shoemaker that was leading that with 10 responses in that chat. We'll check one more time before we hit that. But here we go. Battle for the lead between the 57 and the 51.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's going to be much of anything that the 51 can do to fend him off. He is sideways on corner exit. just lacking a little bit of grip, and that's the advantage that Dakota Floyd was able to get by going longer on that stint, but he's not going to give up just yet. I'm sure they're putting it all out there on the line here.
Push up the racetrack there for the 51. Floyd gets around him. 6 to go. Did Floyd use up his stuff to get there? Can Cook or Holland back up their corners and get back to him?
It's certainly going to be tough, and Dakota Floyd hadn't won since April 5th at Dover Motor Speedway, and he won at Sonoma earlier this season as well, so looking for win number 3. Both these front runners looking for win number 3, but right now it's Dakota Floyd with the advantage, and this could be dangerous for the field too, giving him a little bit more momentum as we go into Martinsville for the season finale, or the regular season finale, before we start the chase. If he wins regular season championship, that's 10 bonus points, and then you tack on all his wins, he's going to be looking pretty good for his 2nd consecutive championship.
Justin Ritchie fending off with the caution is out. Tad Dabney is around.
Oh my goodness, this changes everything now. We were talking like this thing was over and wrapped up, and
wow.
And
that's not Dabney's fault. That's the 13 got into the back of him there.
Wow. Well, take everything that we just said and throw it out the window here, because we have a late race restart at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 2 green-white checkered attempts. Yeah, it just looks like there maybe wasn't enough room there. Cars come together, the caution flies. And now we have a battle to the end. And I think this also brings Noah Maholsky right back into the equation, because he has a lot fresher tires than the rest of the field. I know it's not a lot of laps, but still, the tire advantage is pretty significant. We can't count out the 03 now.
Unfortunate there for Tad Dabney. He was 2 laps down. The 13 machine of Caleb Weekly, who was running in 17th position. Contact between those 2 cars. And now this resets everything. Nobody has any tires left. I don't think anybody saved a set here.
I don't think so either. I think Maholsky and I'm trying to think who else had pit late, but Noah's definitely the highest runner with, I guess, the tire advantage, because he went so long. So he's going to restart 10th, though. That is going to be tough to pass that amount of cars to get back in the race lead. We have 2 attempts here at this, as we do in the Challenger Series. So it's not impossible, but I do think this is going to be very difficult. It's going to be fun to watch as a spectator. I know that's for sure.
Well, we rack him back up. This gives another chance for guys like Richard Holland or Morgan Cook to make a move. The 57 still has that tire advantage we were talking about. You've got some guys that were deeper in the field, though, that went long. They'll have an even bigger tire advantage. You're talking about Noah Maholsky, and you see Logan Threlkeld has found his way into the top 10. There's some of these guys that went a lot longer than the rest of this field. They could have a real shot at winning this race, but I think it's going to take one more incident. I hate to say that. I think it's going to take one more green-white checkered to get them up there. They're going to have to make as much as they can there in that first lap, pray for a caution to come back out a second time, and then finish it off there to pass the top 5.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. I think we're going to have to use all of that. But now this gets interesting. I think we got to go to the chat here on the broadcast here. I need everybody to drop their picks right here in the chat, because this thing is about to get all jumbled up. And it looks like Dakota Floyd going to elect to pick the outside lane here as the leader. Going to give Morgan Cook the opportunity to restart on the bottom. And the tire strategy is kind of all over the place now because of, Dakota Floyd certainly in still a great spot. He is the race leader. But if things get crazy behind, you could see another caution. And also restarting on old tires is not easy either. You can certainly see some wheel spin here. This is about to get very interesting. But I still do like the chances of that 57 Heinz throwback paint scheme. And wouldn't that be something, though, if we find that thing in victory lane? I think the painter of that scheme would have to be a little bit proud.
Well, it's one of those things where I try to remain as neutral as possible. I really hope that one of my paints gets the vote out there.
Hey, we can't fault you for that, but it's about to get good. Pace car is just about ready to make that hard left-hand turn.
Here we go for our first green-white checkered attempt of the night. Floyd, Cook, Ritchie, Holland, the top 4. Sanu finds his way into the top 5. He has gained 17 positions to be here for this restart. Let's see if it's one more time around, or do we re-rack them? Green flag, tire spin, major tire spin, caution is out. 12 car into the wall.
Well, there's your caution that we mentioned Noah Maholsky might need, but I think he's partially involved in, maybe got caught up in some of this. So some destroyed race cars out there for sure, but that just shows the restarting on old tires is not easy here. We saw the field get all out of shape here coming to the Geico restart zone.
It's going to start up here on the inside line. Morgan Cook gets very sideways. This guy's back and forth all the way through. Even Holland slipped the tires. You can see the 44 to the outside, but it was a big spin back here with the 12 of Threlkeld. See if we can back this up one more time from our blimp camera to see exactly what happened.
It doesn't look like any one person spun the tires. It looked like everybody spun the tires, and then, yeah, that correction back up the track, it collected the 12 of Logan Threlkeld. A couple other cars go through the AstroTurf in the infield there. We'll have to look. I believe the 88 got quite a bit of damage here, too.
I think it was the 84 of Locklear got sideways. He was a lap down. It wasn't at the time. He is now, but 99, nowhere to go. 7 Machine gives him a shot. Maybe some guys not happy with that restart. So we look one more time. Chris Rude involved, Jordan Trass, Brandon Wallace. I think Belkey almost got a piece of it. The 7 of Skinner. That puts us to our second green-white checkered.
Yeah, and you can see the sun is starting to go down, and I'm guessing that means the aggression is about to go up here. This is the last green-white checkered we get tonight, so whatever happens here, that's the race. If we get another quick caution, whoever is the leader at the time of caution will be declared the race winner. If we get to the white flag, they get to battle it out to the end. So we'll have to see what happens here. I still think that, 57 of Dakota Floyd in a pretty good spot. Just having the freshest tires, he gets to be the control car. He gets to launch first. That is a huge advantage in iRacing. So unless something crazy happens here, which it could, I think that this 57 of Dakota Floyd is going to bring it home for the 3rd time this season.
4 cautions, 8 lead changes, and we are in overtime. We're past our 100 lap mark here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Throwback night. That means you get an extension on those votes as well. The Challenger Series. 10 responses so far. And it's been eventful here tonight. Jeff, I know that we definitely did our due diligence this week to put this all together.
Yeah, and I got to give you a shout out, Bradley Cooper, the graphics that you were able to make for all these different drivers. And just thank you to all the drivers, too, for coming out and making this throwback weekend a success. We got to thank Julio Villalobos with 29 Graphics for sponsoring this weekend's event so that we could do this as well. We got some prize money on the line for all the different contests that we're running. And then be sure, tune in tonight for the SNR Cup Series for our longest race of the season, 300 miles for 200 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's been a fun weekend, and we're only about halfway done.
11 responses in the chat. Keith Shoemaker still winning the vote with 4. And it's tied between Morgan Cook, Bryce Shoemaker, Ben Laughter. So an update there on that as well. But Looks like Keith Shoemaker might have it wrapped up.
Yeah, and that's a good looking paint scheme. Like we said, I think he got a little bit involved in that last incident on that restart. So that paint scheme might be beat up a little bit, but nonetheless, a good looking paint scheme all night long.
Here we go for our final green-white checkered attempt. It will be 2 laps to go when they take this green flag. If they make it back around to the white flag, they will race it out. If a caution comes out prematurely, that'll be the end of it. Green flag back underway. Great restart here for the 57 and the 44 to the outside of Justin Ritchie. Here comes the 3 of Mahalski. Trying to win the race here, Jeff.
Yeah, but is there anywhere to go? They're too wide in front of him. He's going to have to get creative here and maybe squeeze it 3 wide underneath. Here he comes. Don't count him out yet. Coming to the white flag this time.
Noah Mahalski. It's not over yet. One more time around at Charlotte, and he has the tires, the preferred line. 57 can't do anything with it. Oh, man. Noah Mahalski in a toss-up is going to take the top spot, and he's going to get his 3rd win of the season. He's driving away from the 57. Battle for third back here with Brewer and Ritchie. Contact between the two. Almost up into the wall. Here comes Morgan Cook. He hits the 55. He's sideways. It's Brewer who gets it at the line.
Wow, what a finish. That's about as crazy as it could get. Throwback night certainly did not disappoint, but Noah Mahalski, we were writing him off. Some of the guys in the chat said no way he can win with this strategy. Goes long, gets those 2 cautions that he needed, and he executed late. Noah Mahalski wins his 3rd race of the season, and wow, that's got to feel good.
This is a shout out to Rusty Buttons and Josh Adams, Reggie Ortega. Look who's in victory lane.
That's 2 crown jewels, Bradley. One at the Brickyard, and now comes back a week later and wins at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What a turn of events.
Congratulations to Noah Mahalski. He deserved to have this win. He was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack here tonight, and he will find his way to the top spot. Post-race interviews and that final count on those votes in just a moment. You're watching Saturday Night Racing League Throwback Night from Charlotte. More coverage on V-Speed right after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Welcome to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We got 2 green light checkered attempts, 80% fuel load. So this is the opening race of the series. Just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile up. Logan Throwback with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season.
And Jordan Trask, can they battle it out? They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
1/1000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweeney led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway.
If you're Dakota Boy here, what do you do right
Look at the block down the backstretch.
You have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrara's got the preferred line.
And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Ferrara is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Ingram Wheatley, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Welcome back here to Charlotte with Throwback Night presented by 29 Graphics. Saturday Night Racing League has concluded their overtime. That was 100 laps scheduled, 105 completed, and we finished under green with a surprise throw from Noah Mahalski to lead the most laps here today. And then he finds his way to victory lane somehow with those green-white checkers. It fell exactly the way I thought, Jeff. There was a slide there on the start. It wheel spin from the entire inside line, a little bit of a caution there in the first probably 500 feet, and that put Noah Mahalski in a prime position to pass for the lead. He will have started 6th. He will get another win. Dakota Floyd, who was leading there on those final 2 restarts, he'll get second position. Philip Brewer will get third. We'll get a word with those drivers in just a moment. But then you go through the rest of your top 5. Justin Ritchie, Austin Belke for 5th position. Richard Holland falls back to 6th. He competed with Noah Mahalski a lot here today. Caleb Weekly finds himself 7th with Morgan Cook in 8th. Max Koss 9th. And Ben Lachter will finish in the 10th position.
Matt Shanowski in that Ward Burton 1994 throwback. He finishes 11th tonight. Mark McFadden, how about him picking up a few spots late? Started 23rd, gets up to 12th. Great run for Mark. As the same for Chris Rude. Started 19th, finds his way up to 13th. Or started 19th, finished 13th. Logan Threlkeld, an up and down day. Kind of got caught up in some of those restarts at the end. Got some damage settles for 14th. Stephen Davis will get 15th tonight. Brandon Wallace in the 99 finishes 16th. Jared Skinner making his SNR Challenger Series debut gets 17th. Jordan Trask started on the pole, didn't have the race that he wanted to, got collected in a few incidents. He gets 18th. Jacob Locklear in that 84 machine gets 19th. And John Sanu rounds out our top 20.
3 more cars to talk about there with Keith Shoemaker in the 21st position. Tad Dabney in 22nd, 23rd is going to go to Bryce Shoemaker. Remember, got caught up there on the backstretch with the 79 of Jordan Trask, 51 of Morgan Cook, but was leading there in that final battle for that favorite paint scheme. And we have officially closed off those votes, and there's some drivers that we need to talk to. I think, what do you think? The first driver that we bring up here is going to be our 3rd place finisher, Philip Brewer. Jeff Wright has caught up with him.
I am standing alongside Philip Brewer. 3rd place tonight. Philip, right where you started. It was an eventful race. We saw you on the high side a handful of times. That car looked like an absolute handful. Got a little bit crazy at the end, but able to salvage a podium. I imagine you can't be too disappointed with that result.
I'm happy with it. And a lot.
Philip Brewer, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it looks like your microphone volume is a little bit low. Anything you can do real quick to maybe increase that volume for us here? We'll get you on the broadcast.
Is that any better?
Yeah, a little bit better there.
That's as high as it goes on here.
Yeah, I think we can hear him loud and clear. As long as it's good from producer Bradley Cooper, if you think we're good, we'll continue on. Yeah, perfect. So real quick, Philip, just take us through your night. Up and down day. Settle for 3rd. Things got a little bit crazy, but able to keep that car relatively clean. Take us through your night.
Yeah, I was just trying to save it first, and I thought I was gaining on the leaders in that first run, but the caution came out and had a bad pit stop. Didn't get fuel on the car, so then I was just massively saving that second run. And I got saved by the caution on that one. And then from there, I don't know. I felt like I didn't have enough speed on the short run. And then in the long run, like Dakota would just blow my doors off. And I tried to follow his line there a little bit, but there was just nothing I could do. And then there at the end, I mean, me and Richie were going at it and got side by side. And I don't know who stuck their nose down there on the inside, got into him. And then it was just chaos.
Seemed like tire strategy kind of was the name of the game again. We've seen that kind of become a common theme here the last few weeks. When you're in that last run, is that kind of in the back of your head that, hey, I only got 1 set of tires left here, and, maybe I go for that longer strategy, or were you still kind of determined that you were going to split it up kind of evenly and kind of bank on a no yellow scenario there?
I was planning on splitting it. I mean, every other race where it's a tire strategy, not saving tires was like okay, but I mean, I was just following everybody else at that point, and then Mahalski just stayed out really long, and I thought he was screwed. Kind of probably would have been screwed if it wasn't for the caution, but I guess that's the name of the game.
Yeah, certainly. A lot of guys in the live chat here on V-Speed were writing off the 03 and Noah Mahalski, and as were we in a way. Bradley, I think we both kind of thought that wasn't going to work, and sure enough, a late race caution happens. at the perfect time for him, and we saw him just kind of rip through the field. So certainly worked out for him tonight, but a solid finish here for you, Philip, with the third place finish. We go out to Martinsville next week for the regular season finale. How do we feel about your chances out there, and feel like maybe we can get a win, another win to your name, as you already have 2 on the season?
Yeah, maybe. I think it'll just be about staying out of wrecks there, so we'll see how that plays out.
All right, Philip. Well, thanks for talking with us, and good luck next week at Martinsville. And maybe we'll see you a little bit later tonight for the SNR Cup Series. It's the 29 Graphics 300 at Charlotte. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
Third place finisher Philip Brewer up in the podium and finds his way. I think the way this all settles out, some of these guys that felt like the race was just going to be a top 10 night here, they suddenly find themselves competing for the win. We talked about Philip just mentioning there what we felt the same way. The 03 staying out that long, it shouldn't have worked, but it did because of that late race caution, because we got the double overtime with those green-white checkers. I know one guy that's going to be really disappointed with it is going to be 57 of Dakota Floyd. Dakota, I got to say, man, what could have been? We had that Heinz ketchup bottle up on the top spot, but here tonight, you put on a great show. You saved your tires a lot. You were definitely one of those cars. Had this race stayed green, we probably would have been talking to you in victory lane.
Yeah, that one definitely stings a little bit. We had figured out the magic lap to somehow to come down and put the tires on, and we were able to catch those guys in front pretty quick. And we needed about 3 more laps, and it would be a different story. But unfortunately, it wasn't the case. And Noah he plays cars right, had the freshest tires, so he earned it one way or another.
When we go back to the beginning of this race with those cautions falling the way they did, we kind of split this race up into thirds. It was somewhere around lap 20 and then lap 40 that we had our first 2 cautions, and it kind of forced the hand of you guys to burn your tires. If you didn't come down pit road and take those 4 fresh ones, you would have fell behind. How did that factor in to how this race and the outcome?
Oh yeah, you definitely even if you wanted to save a set, I think you just had to always run that risk of falling way too far behind and possibly going a lap down if it goes long enough. So I think everyone just realized that the tire fall off was so drastic that you just had to come and take them and then bite the bullet at the end of the race, whether you wanted to come down soon for the undercut or overcut it like some of us did. So it was just a matter of how much risk you wanted to play during the race.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. That thing looks a lot better on the racetrack than it did in the UI. Fantastic drive out there as well. Dakota Floyd, I also have to mention, Jeff, is this official here for the Discord vote?
Yeah, it is. So we can go ahead and announce it that Dakota Floyd has won the V-Speed vote challenge. So congratulations to you. Anything you'd like to say, one, about maybe the inspiration about the paint scheme, but also just how Throwback Night went this week. I know there was a lot building up to it. You came very close. Probably would have been, perfect to be able to top it off with a win, but still a pretty cool weekend, I would have to say. And winning that fan vote, that's pretty cool too.
Oh, well, I definitely appreciate everyone voting for my car. That's awesome. I wasn't really expecting to win it. There was a couple of really cool schemes out there. So, but first and foremost, I got to thank, the commentator here, Bradley. He's the one that put this thing together. He's pretty much become my paint guy. I always ask him to do my stuff. He always does a fantastic job. So I really appreciate him for putting this together. And I'll tell you, it was really hard to find NASCAR drivers in recent years that have run the 57. It's not a very common number, I found out. So I was able to, after Googling some different ones, I found Jimmy Spencer had run this car for quite a few races back when he was relevant in the Cup Series, or Winston Cup. And I thought it was really cool, especially living in PA, Heinz ketchup. So the motherland of it. So I thought it was a really good scheme to run. But that's awesome. I'm really glad everyone liked it. So thank you guys.
Just to double down there, it was the Discord vote, I believe, there on the Discord official vote. It was vote 8 and 8 there. We went off a finishing order for that tie. Keith Shoemaker is also going to be up here in the booth. He was tied with you for the highest votes.
Oh wow! Well, that's awesome. I definitely didn't expect to get that many votes in the first place, but I'll definitely take it.
Well, Dakota, outside of that, is there anybody else you want to shout out real quick before we let you go?
Well, definitely. Always got to shout out the teammates. They were running pretty good races, and I know there was some carnage at the end of the race there. So I know Justice So ended up coming out with a good finish, and I know John had his night ended prematurely on that first green white checkered. So tough luck for him, and I know he was looking to be pretty good there at the end. Thanks to the league and the admins. You guys, everyone that's part of this process, you guys do a fantastic job in giving us a great place to race. And something I forget to do every time I'm in the broadcast booth. Thank you to all the sponsors. I always forget to do that. I don't know why, but it just slips my mind. But thank you to all the sponsors that help make this thing happen with the broadcast. And thank you guys in the broadcast booth as well for always giving us a great show to go back and watch.
Appreciate your time. Dakota Floyd, second place. I know this one probably doesn't taste very good, but put some Heinz ketchup on it. It'll taste a little bit better. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night.
And moving on to victory lane, Jeff Wright has caught up with your race winner. I'm sure he has a lot to say about this one. Noah Mahalski down in victory lane with Jeff Wright.
Yes, I'm down here in victory lane with Noah Mahalski for the third time this season and third time in his career, which is also tied for first all time with a few other pretty big names, Noah, I'll have to say. You joined the likes of Dakota Floyd and Morgan Cook all being in that 3-win column for a while there. I'll admit we had a lot of people writing you off. We thought that maybe wasn't the strategy to go by, but a late race caution brings you back in it, and boy, you were ripping through the field there. Those last few laps had to be an absolute blast to be driving.
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, I want to apologize to John on that first green-white checkered. I was still getting up through the gears, and I got a little loose. Caution came out, and he checked up, and I turned it to the right just a little bit so I wouldn't rub too much for my tires, and I hooked him into the wall. I take full blame for that. I feel really bad about it. But, yeah, we've gotten screwed over, I feel, 2 or 3 races this season on, like, the tire gambles. So after that second caution, third caution, or whatever, all of us at Neon Auto decided we're going to run long, just on the off chance a caution came out, and it did. It played in our favor very well, and it felt really good ripping through the field with like 15 lap newer tires.
Seemed like in the early goings there that you were obviously pretty quick. You're able to get around Richard Holland, both you guys. I would say maybe class the field for that first half of the race. It seemed like you were driving aggressively, though, right? You were pushing your car to be able to get to the lead. Is that something that you kind of knew that you're going to have to do coming into tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway? And was there any worry in your mind that maybe that was going to come bite you on the long run? Or did you feel confident in your ability that you could run hard, but also save at the same time and put yourself in a pretty good spot?
Well, I felt really confident about getting to the front. I knew if I got to the front, I'd be able to just run the bottom, wrap the bottom, and save my stuff. That was kind of my goal. Past races here, I remember the top lane working a little bit better. I personally didn't feel like it worked that much better until that last green-white checkered, obviously, but that's when everyone's on 15 lap older tires than me. But yeah, we were just trying to get the clean air, because dirty air was really bad behind Richard Holland. I was just trying to set up runs to get around him, and then for a while there we were side by side and we weren't giving each other an inch. It was really fun.
Well, no, it has to be a pretty good feeling to not only go back to back in the SNR Challenger Series, but also to win back to back at some historic racetracks. Winning last week at the Brickyard, that had to be quite the experience. Then to come back the following week and do it here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of the Coke 600. Certainly winning some big races, and I'm sure that feels great. But next week we go to Martinsville in a short track, and sometimes a very chaotic short track. Maybe a place that I've seen you run well. Do we feel like maybe we can make it a three-peat? We had one driver attempt the three-peat earlier this season. Wasn't able to do it. Can the 03 make history next week at the Paperclip?
Unfortunately, no. I'm forfeiting that right now because I will not be here next week.
Oh yeah, you and I are going to be somewhere, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think there's a cup race going on at Kansas Speedway or something like that. So,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think you and I probably both will be in attendance at that. So we'll wave that one by. We'll give you a break there. But before we let you go, real quick, Noah, the floor is yours. Anybody would you like to give a shout out to?
Just shout out the league. It's always fun racing with everyone here. Everyone races normally pretty clean, pretty aggressive. We're all kind of top 10, 15. I feel we're all pretty well in the same kind of driver skill, I guess. So it's really fun to race around everyone. Like to thank you guys at V Speed for broadcasting every week. You guys put on a great broadcast. All the league sponsors, all my teammates, my girlfriend for watching the race. All the sponsors on the car. We got a few different ones this week. Zero Bars, Fanatec, AutoZone, and then got Riley Green on the hood. I don't know if you guys figured out what the RG was for, but that's what it's for. And yeah.
Alrighty, well, congrats again, Noah. We'll let you get to celebrating. Might be a short-lived celebration because I think you got to climb back to the car here in maybe 30 minutes. I don't know if you're joining us for the Cup Series or not, but either way, time to go celebrate. Congrats again on the big win.
Yep, thank you.
So that was Noah Michalski in the 03. We got one more interview, though, we got to get to, and that is going to be Keith Shoemaker in that number 88. He wins the V-Speed vote. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bradley, but I think it's the V-Speed vote. Okay.
It's got it.
V-Speed vote. He has been declared the race winner, not race winner, the vote winner, I guess I'll say, in that number 88 Dale Jr. nationwide scheme. Keith, first off, talk about maybe the inspiration behind that paint scheme, and then also tell us what's it like to be able to win an awesome throwback challenge like this tonight. There was a lot of entries, but yours rose to the top as the favorite amongst all the fans that voted tonight.
Yeah, I was growing up as a Earnhardt fan and eventually going to a Junior fan. I liked all of his paint schemes pretty much, but that one's the one that stuck out to me the most. And just like my race tonight, that 2017 Darlington race didn't go well for him either.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was some really cool paint schemes that Dale Jr. ran over the course of his career that maybe he didn't get maybe the finish that he would have liked. So that has happened once or twice, but still, it's got to feel good to be able to come home with that. And also, there'll be some prize money delivered to you. We'll have to get back to you on the amounts. We'll get all that sorted out. But as far as the racetrack out there tonight, I mean, we'll talk to you a little bit about the race as well. It looked a little chaotic on some of those restarts, and we know the 88 was catching our eye with, just the quality of paint scheme out there, but it looked like it was a little slick and there was a little bumping and banging out there. Take us through your kind of whole race out there tonight here at Charlotte.
Yeah, during the beginning, I was just trying to save a little bit of fuel, tires, and then try to come back a little bit later. But then after Bryce got taken out, he jumped on my pit box and we started saving tires and gaining pace. We were starting to get up there pretty well. And then that restart that took me out just killed everything. I don't even know how I even got non-repairable damage. It didn't look that bad.
Well, Keith, we are going to be SNR Cup Series racing for the 29 Graphics 300 here in just about 30 minutes. So I don't want to keep you too long here, but for one, are we going to be able to see you out there? Do we got maybe another paint scheme that we're going to have the fans look out for? And if so, if you want to give us a brief description here before we let you go, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. We got the 2015 Daytona Summer Race paint scheme coming up next.
All right. Well, that's a good one. I'm sure all the fans out there will be looking forward to see that. And Bradley, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins back-to-back votes with as many Dale Jr. fans there are out there. So, but with that, Keith, we'll let you go, let you get to practice, and we'll see you in about 30 minutes on track here at Charlotte.
Right. Thanks a lot.
So that's Keith Shoemaker, driver of the number 88 nationwide throwback paint scheme tonight. And the fans loved it. I mean, you can't deny that, Bradley. I mean, yeah, Dale Jr. is one of the all-time favorites, but I think we can't count out the fact that that's a solid-looking paint scheme out there.
Yeah, we got to go back here and look at this final results here. This is a replay of that finish. You see that charge there on the inside. You're seeing the 03 and Noah Mahalski. He's going to move to the bottom of the racetrack here through 3 and 4 to get this victory. This is the pass right here that defined it for the 03, taking them 3 wide through 3 and 4. Zips right on by like they're not even there, like they're sitting still. And then we go back just a little bit further. I know, Jeff, you got to get some practice in as well, but let's look right here. It was 4th on back that was just utter chaos. We're going to have contact out of 4.
Yeah, and some of this maybe we missed, but the racing throughout was just crazy. I mean, look in the back there. We're looking 2 and 3 wide, and nobody willing to give an inch. And Philip Brewer, Justin Ritchie battling for the podium finish right here, coming to the line. Here comes Morgan Cook to send it 3 wide. I mean, you can't ask for much of a better finish than that. That was just awesome tonight.
We're going to see him slide sideways across the start-finish line as well. Why not? Here comes Morgan Cook right now. Any second. There he is. Back it up one more time by 5 seconds. I think there's a screenshot here that somebody could probably take at the start-finish line for these drivers. But this, yeah, the contact there, there's Caleb Weekly who gets a spot. Morgan Cook falls behind here. Caleb Weekly somehow finds his way around the 51. There's
like
the 24 Belkey.
Yeah, that happened once already this race. The seas parting in front of the 24 Belkey, and happens again coming to the line here. So crazy, wild finish, but it's Noah Mahalski that's ultimately the one in victory lane celebrating. I can't say everybody in this photo right here is maybe thrilled with that finish, but it was sure fun to watch as a fan. That's absolutely for sure.
Hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We got more coverage here of Saturday Night Racing League in just about 30 minutes time. We're going back to Charlotte for another throwback race, and we'll have more links in the chat. So make sure you catch that week 13 for the Cup Series at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for tuning in. If you did enjoy tonight's broadcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race, as we're just about ready to go championship racing for the chase here for Saturday Night Racing League. The top 12 almost decided here in Challenger. The top 16 will be decided in the Cup Series in 2 weeks' time. Until then, hope you enjoyed it. For Jeff Wright, Adam Baker in the background, our other producers, Morgan Cook, Logan Threlkeld, Eddie Smith, Christian Hill, and Lucas Lyons. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Charlotte. We'll see you in 30 minutes. Till then, stay tracking.